The Pittsburgh Steelers are officially a month out from the start of NFL training camp, and with that being said, I am getting excited, right? Preseason football, regular season football, it seems like it is right around the corner. Now, in this video specifically, I did want to do a massive overview of a couple of guys who have, really done a good job positioning themselves to break out this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're going to break down 3, 4, maybe 5 players that have, really exceeded expectations so far in minicamp and OTAs. Now, before we jump into the video, comment down below one player who has surprised you the most. I know you guys aren't there at practice, but in terms of the things that you've read about, heard about, and maybe even seen in some highlights, who is someone that has surprised you so far? And we'll get to see if I actually name them in this video. Now, with that being said, let's kind of dive in. Now, the first player that comes to mind when I think about guys who are really exceeding expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers is a wide receiver, right? Now, obviously, with Deontay Johnson heading over there to Carolina, they get Dante Jackson in return, a cornerback who looks like he could be a day one starter opposite of Joey Porter Jr. I thought that was a really good addition, a really good trade, but also at the same time, I think it left a little bit of a hole in the wide receiver position, right? Deontay Johnson is a really, really good route runner, can really garner and create separation within his routes, right? So I do believe that losing Deontay was going to hurt. However, that was going to allow, right, someone else to be able to step up, whether it's a guy like Van Jefferson, a rookie like Roman Wilson, or Quez Watkins, right? There's so many different options here of guys that can really stand out. Now, take everything I say with a grain of salt because there's no pads, there's not really too much contact, but there is 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s in minicamp, right? Now, one guy, I know we've taken a while to get into this, and you guys will probably predict from what you guys have been hearing, but one guy who's looked really, really good so far, Calvin Austin. Now, Calvin Austin is a 4th-round pick back in 2022, and the dude is an absolute burner, right? You can really tell from the moment you watch some of these highlights or watch him at practice, he's a better player. Now, I want to really pinpoint one thing specifically. It's the route running. It is the creating separation, the getting open for the quarterback, but also when your quarterback, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, needs to get out the pocket, extend the play, Calvin Austin does an unbelievable job, seeing where his quarterback is going and kind of running towards him, right? Trying to get open, trying to give him another lane to pass the football, right? So I think Calvin Austin has not only made a name for himself in mandatory minicamp, but has positioned himself to explode this season and maybe even be a breakout candidate. Let me know in the comments down below. I love his speed, the athleticism, the elusiveness to be able to get the football right, but then make big time plays at any moment in time. So I'm very excited to see what Calvin Austin could do over the next few weeks and months as we lead into preseason as well. Now, the next player who has, really looked good so far in camp is an underrated one. Now, over the last couple of weeks, the Steelers have added a lot of different players to their team, trying to make sure the depth in some areas are just really good, right? A couple of weeks ago, I should say, Cameron Sutton, the former Detroit Lions but longtime Pittsburgh Steelers, DB is back. He's going to be their starting nickel, and it now allows them to run a lineup with Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson, and obviously Cameron Sutton. Now, before Cameron Sutton was here, there was actually a lot of guys looking relatively good for that nickel position. But I do think that Cameron Sutton is a couple of tiers above what they were working with before. Obviously, you had guys like Darius Rush, you had Josiah Scott, you had, Thomas Graham, right? But there was one player that was looking really, really good. And, I thought he even made a case to be a starter at times, right? Obviously needs to be consistent. But Beanie Bishop Jr., this is a UDFA from this season, a guy who has started to really emerge from this rookie class. And, he started a ton of games in college, led the nation in pass breakups last year as well. And this is a guy that is going to be a really good player for the Steelers. Now, although they bring in a guy like Cam Sutton, I do think that hinders what his overall potential will be for this year one. I do think that Beanie Bishop's potential down the line is something to note, right? Something to pay attention to. You look at what he's been doing throughout minicamp and OTAs and rookie minicamp. The dude tracks the ball very, very well. Is able to get his hand into the the catch radius of wide receivers and knock them down. This dude is really, really good in terms of just breaking up passes, right? Maybe not the best in terms of forcing interceptions, but man, he's always in the right spot. And if he can just, kind of get a little bit better, right? Develop just a tiny bit, this dude will not only make the 53-man roster, but he could be a big-time player for them for a long time, right? Those are the things I'm seeing and hearing at minicamp so far. I do think he has a lot of work that needs to be done, but again, that's why you bring in a Cam Sutton. And I really think Cam Sutton is a fine player that I think will be really good for them going forward. Now, guys, before we get any further into the video, breaking down a couple more guys who have looked really good, I need you guys to do me a really big favor. Hit the like button so not only we can get this video out to more, Steelers fans around the world, but also subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free. It doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering the Steelers throughout the entirety of the season. Not only the rest of the offseason, training camp, preseason, regular season, but once the season does kick off, we're going to be breaking down film from the games, right? Making sure you guys are kept up to date with everything that's going on. Make sure you guys join the family. Lastly, if you follow my Twitch, we might be live streaming some Steelers games this year on my Twitch, so make sure you guys go follow. Link will be in the description, or I think it is Matty Dubs with 3 S's as well. Okay. Now, there are 2 more guys, in my opinion, who have looked really good. Now, I don't want to undervalue a guy like Pat Queen coming over from Baltimore, a guy like a Landon Roberts, Alex Highsmith, and TJ Watt. I think those guys are really, really good. However, behind them, there's a lot of big-time players, right, who are slowly going to get more and more involved as the season goes on. But in my eyes, Nick Herbig is someone who insane versatility. In throw practice, we saw that in terms of him dropping back into a hook curl, going into the flats, right? Even getting a mid-read in there every once in a while, right? Playing a bunch of different zone coverage. But that is not even what he specializes in. It's getting to the quarterback. So you look at a guy like Alex Highsmith, right? And, Alex Highsmith does a really good job of getting to the quarterback and also, sometimes getting to the flats and make big-time plays in the passing game, right? But I think Nick Herbig has just a different type of versatility and adds a different dynamic that this team has not had in a very long time. I think Nick Herbig is a guy that is going to break out this season in a massive way. I think he can play multiple different positions, inside linebacker, outside linebacker. I think he can, line up on the line as a big-time edge rusher. I think this dude is going to be massive. Nick Herbig has been showcasing his ability to play multiple different positions all camp, and I think this could be the season that he does it all. Now, what I will also say, Peyton Wilson is another guy that I believe has the capabilities of being a big-time player on the interior of the linebacker group, right? With behind Landon Roberts, behind Patrick Queen, you also have a guy like Mark Robinson, Cole Holcomb, but I think Peyton Wilson has already done a really good job, working his way up the depth chart and making a name for himself in mandatory minicamp. Now, again, take everything with a grain of salt, because once the pads come on, that's when we're really going to start to notice who's really, really looking good. And I think both those guys, the guys we have just talked about, have done good. They've done really good in terms of just making an impact on this team. So I'm very excited to see how all of these guys continue to develop and continue to get better going forward. And I'll talk about them again, right? Calvin Austin. We also got, Jalen Warren has been looking really good as well behind Najee, as he missed the first, or I think he missed a couple of days of mandatory minicamp. So Jalen Warren, another guy to keep your eye on out for. And then, Peyton Wilson, Alex Highsmith, Beanie Bishop. Those are the guys, Nick Herbig. Those are the guys who have looked really, really good so far in practice. And again, like I said before, I'm excited to see what they can continue to bring. Russell Wilson has looked good. Justin Fields has been really good one day and the other day, and then really good again. So, I think there's a lot of potential with Justin Fields in the future, in Pittsburgh could be really bright for him. Even a guy like, John Rice Plumlee is another guy who has made some really crazy throws. So, Dude, I am pumped for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I think this will be a unbelievable season for them. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next Steelers update. Peace.